Oh, what is going on, everybody? How we doing? I think I pushed it. There we go. All right. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. Um, Having a good Tuesday. Good time on this Tuesday, whatever you want to say that. But yeah, glad you guys could join me. Glad you guys are here. Um, Hopefully everything is running properly. I hope so. But yeah, welcome to the Watchtower, episode 75. 75. Oh man. I'll tell you what. We're waiting, Lord. We are patiently waiting. We know your timing is perfect, but we're waiting. We're ready to get out of here. That's for sure. But um, we're not quite ready to get out of here yet because of things like this. This is fantastic. Good news through a praise report. A girl that I worked with a few months back, I started talking to her about Jesus, and she got saved a couple of days ago. So we've got to understand this is fantastic. We've got to understand that even though we want to get out of here so bad, we want out of here so bad. There's still some souls that are ready to receive the Lord. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as we go through these times. Because if you're anything like me, it's just 5 minutes ago would have been a good time to go. But that's fantastic to hear. Make sure we don't know if you want to give a name or not, but if you are watching this, if you're in the chat, make sure you keep this lady in prayer, that she continues to hold strong to Jesus, and she gets the proper witnessing that she needs. And we know Sarah's going to do that. So, but glad you guys could join me. Glad to hear that report from you, Sarah. It's also cool to see you on Tuesday because I know you usually work on Tuesdays. But and we've got the rest of the chat. We've got Kim here. How's it going, Kim? Glad you are here. Just in time because our time is so short. Very, very true. Lisa's here. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better, Lisa. Matt is back. Glad to see you. Hopefully you're feeling better since it seemed like majority of you guys have been sick. So I don't mean to laugh at your sickness, but it's just everybody's all getting sick at the same time. So we've got Kim trying to get my sister signed up for tonight. Huh? Well, hopefully she can join us. And her name is Natasha. I am terrible with names, as you know. So hopefully that's right. Natasha. I think it's Natasha. I don't know. I could be totally butchering that. Either way, glad you guys are here. Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Couple of things, every once in a while I come across some news and I see some stuff and it's like, oh, that's interesting. That's definitely something to pay attention to as far as what's going on with prophecy, what's happening in these last days, these end times. But then sometimes as you continue to get further down the rabbit hole, you start finding nuggets of gold. I guess really that's the best way. You just start finding stuff where it's kind of, there's been a couple of times when I was doing my research and my notes, I just sat there and I just like leaned back and I was like, wow, because of how incredible it is. But we'll talk about all that stuff. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of it's going to be with AI and how it's connected to other things and stuff. Just, you'll see what I mean. So either way, Sue Johnson, I'm guessing that's Kim's sister. I'm just taking a guess. Either way, glad you're here. Glad to see you. So, okay. Oh, yeah. Yay, Sue. Okay. Updates. Cool. Well, cool. Glad you're here, Sue. Glad to see you. Okay, before we jump into everything, the usual spiel, all that stuff. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I still think I'm shadow banned on here. I think. Wouldn't be surprised if I am. So yeah, I'm relying heavily upon you guys sharing it out and talking to people and all that stuff. So like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Make sure you follow me on Odyssey, Rumble, and Telegram for the inevitable removing of me off YouTube, because I just have a feeling it's gonna happen one of these times, because I tend to step on some toes. Either way, make sure you follow me on that stuff as well. So, okay. One last person. Looks like we've got Ray. Glad to see you. Greetings from Texas. Howdy. Howdy, howdy. Glad to see you, Ray. Hopefully you're having a good one. Okay, so before we get into all the big stuff, there's a couple things as far as what's going on with some energy stuff. It's starting to get cold in Europe. I don't know if you know that, but also we are starting to see some interesting things happen here with the electrical grid in the U.S. So far this year, there's been over 120 attacks on the U.S. electrical grid, and the latest is 6 intrusions. They call them intrusions at Duke substations in Florida. As far as I know, the Duke substations weren't like shut down or turned off or anything. They're not really giving. I've found in the different reports that I read, it's all varying what is going on, which is very suspicious in itself because, okay, if it's just some, punks, some gang guys or whatever going in there and doing what they're doing, I don't think they would be hiding that. I don't think there would be a mix of story. But we're kind of getting different variations, so it's kind of suspicious on that. But then there was another 2 substations that were in Moore County, North Carolina, that were hit by gunfire, and they declare this not an accident. When you start seeing 120 attacks so far, and those are the ones being reported at least on U.S. electrical grid substations, power plants, whatever you want to call it. There's something cooking, whether it's foreign or domestic, however you want to put it. Something's cooking, and I don't know. I'm not going to sit here, and I never want to sit here and pretend like I have all the answers and I know exactly what's going to happen. And I'm not going to give you guys the false information. Just from what I'm picking up, from what I've read on this stuff, something suspicious is going on with the U.S. electrical grid, and it would not surprise me, this is my opinion, would not surprise me if we start seeing specific areas go down for extended period of time. So that's pretty much all I'm going to put out as far as my opinion on this, because I just don't know, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. Now, taking a trip over to Europe, we are starting to see that the temperature is getting rather cold over there, and it's staying cold. I'm watching the European map, and I'm also a couple of investor people that I know. They have people in Europe, and they're giving them their temperature where they're at, and they're relaying that for us to watch. And I mean, we're seeing things like negative 19 Celsius in Austria and stuff like that. And this is going to start hitting the pocketbooks, as well as we're going to start seeing blackouts, like we're already seeing blackouts hit Paris. And then, of course, security was put on high alert with the expectation of a rise in violence, because people know why this is happening. People know what is coming, and things are going to start getting violent. And we've seen that with the varying simulations that they've been doing. Then we've also got the UK energy companies are requesting homes that are in the snow. Right now there's snow going on in some parts of the UK, and they're requesting those households to keep electricity and gas turned off from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So basically what they're doing is, during this period of time, they're basically requesting people, as soon as they get home from work, when everybody is all coming home, they're ready to cook their meals and whatnot, to turn off your electricity and gas during a snowstorm, because the grids are going to fail. This is the stuff that we knew was coming. This is the stuff that we were preparing for. And then, of course, like I said, most of Europe is getting hit with temperatures and snow and all this stuff. Gas and electricity prices are spiking quite heavily. So this is it's not looking too good in the Europe part on that. So if you guys give me 1 second, I'm going to turn my AC on, because it's actually, we were just talking about how cold it is in Europe, but I need to turn my AC on. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go turn that on. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that. It was just getting really hot, and I'm already starting to sweat. So, uh, apologize for that. Okay, so that's what's going on as far as energy stuff. Meanwhile, I'm in a heating pad. Well, are you sick again? Because I know you just got over COVID. So are you sick again? Everybody dance. Yeah. Texas is pretty warm right now, at least where I'm at. So yeah, it's pretty warm. So, okay, let's see. Very Bioshock. Okay. Okay, so that's what's going on as far as the energy stuff. So continue. I know we haven't talked about it in a while. I know it's been a minute, but continue to keep an eye on what is going on with Europe. We're getting it's been rather unusually warm over there for this period of time, but now we're getting into the cold, and this is what we've been waiting for. So be keeping them in prayer, especially if we start seeing excessive blackouts. We know what's going to start coming with that. So, no, I'm just an old lady with a bad back. Oh, yikes. It was low. Yeah. Okay. So, as far as let's see here. As far as natural events, I'm not seeing anything unusual as far as earthquakes or floodings or volcanoes, nothing really significant, but some ones to pay attention to that I did come across. There's a 5.8 quake in Sirajang, Hilia. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Indonesia. 5.5 quake in Surab, Russia. I tend to kind of pay attention to what's going on with Russia as far as their quakes. 5.8 quake in Cabatuan, I think that's how you pronounce it, Philippines. 5.6 quake in Hihifo, Tonga. 5.6 quake in San Pedro de... man, that's my handwriting right there. Atacama, San Pedro de Atacama, Chile. 5.5 quake in San Antonio, Chile. There was a 6.0 quake in El Tecu, Mexico. I have no idea. I can't speak Hungarian. 5.5 quake in Panama Basin, and then a 5.7 quake in Naze, Japan, which actually just happened today. As far as volcanoes, we got 48 volcanoes erupting. I think that's one more than last week. I think nothing dangerous on that one. There's 9 in North America, 7 in South America, 2 in Europe, 3 in Antarctica, 4 in Africa, 15 in Asia, and 8 in Oceania. So, like I said, nothing, extravagant going on with that, but we always keep an eye on what's going on there. So, that's what we got going on with that. Looks like you guys are talking about the weather in there. That's your classic small talk right there. Okay, let's see. Let's move on and start getting into the heart of this. Start getting into the meat with what is going on. So, what's going on? Gotta love that. Texas getting ripped through here. Oh, I don't know. I keep getting distracted by you guys. Keep talking. Sorry. That's my own bad. Okay, so let's talk about the meat of what's going on here. And no pun intended, but I guess pun intended now. So we know about the farmer protests that's been going on in the Netherlands. It's been going on for several months now. This is a part of the Dutch government. They've been implementing their green agenda. They've reduced the fertilizer down. They're trying to get farmers to sell. They're trying to get farmers to shut down. And we know this is going on, and we know it's a part of the food supply thing that they're doing. We know it's a part of their green agenda and whatnot, but there's a specific reason why this has started in the Netherlands. There's a specific reason why the Netherlands has become the war zone that it's become. And it has to do with, shockingly, surprise, surprise, the WEF agenda. Right now, we're just getting reports because they've been trying to subtly get the farmers to shut down. But now the Dutch government is attempting to forcibly shut down over 3,000 farms. They want more than that, but they're trying to forcibly shut down three right now. Again, we understand they're working to ban fertilizer. We know they're trying to reduce food and they're trying to control the supply. We know that. But there's so much fire going on in the Netherlands because January 27th at the Davos Agenda 2021 meeting, the Dutch government and the WEF launched the Food Innovation Hubs project. I've got a video of this that we can check this out straight from the horse's mouth. Here we go.
So the role of businesses in the agri-food sector should be stimulated and enabled to create scalable solutions. And here I'd like to highlight a World Economic Forum initiative in this regard, the World Economic Forum Food Innovation Hubs. And these hubs in Africa, in Asia, in South America and in Europe will allow businesses to connect regional stakeholders to skill innovations, because this is key. Skill innovations that can address food systems challenges. And here, I'm particularly proud to announce that the Netherlands will host the global coordinating secretariat of the World Economic Forum Food Innovation Hubs, which will connect all other food innovation hubs. And I believe this is important because it will be facilitating to create the partnerships we need.
All right, so this would be the reason why the Netherlands has become the war zone, the hot spot for the reduction of farms, the reduction of fertilizer. Again, we know it's happening in other places, but the main area it's happening is the Netherlands. We know that's where the big war, and it's because the Dutch government and the WEF have agreed to do the food innovation hubs there. The Netherlands will be the center for global food hubs with a global coordinating secretariat, like he was just talking about in the video. They're going to be the HQ, the global HQ for the world global food hubs. The central coordinating HQ will direct the rest of the food innovation hubs that are going out there. And he listed, in specific countries, these things are going to be there. What they're trying to do is they're trying to collapse self-preservation. They're trying to collapse, independence. They're trying to get rid of all of this, and they're trying to put it down to food hubs, just like what, mine just went blank. Kissinger, just like what Kissinger said, if you control the food, you control the population. And that's exactly what they're trying to do now with these food hubs. So it makes a lot more sense now why the Netherlands has become the beginning of this war, the why it's such a hot spot for this, because that's where they've been doing it for months. Things have been getting violent. The farmers are uprising like crazy. There's support from all the other areas around. They're also trying to support them and whatnot. And we would think that it would start branching out even further, but it's not. But yet everything is just so hot in that one area. And the reason why is that government wants to set up that central food hubs. And what they need to do is they need to basically say, we've got this under control. We're going to tear this down, and we're going to show you what we can do and why we're going to be the leader in this whole shebang. I don't know, I can't really think of the right word, so we'll just say the whole shebang. So it seems we've got our answer as far as that goes. Now, controlling food not only controls people, but it's also prophetic. And we've talked about this quite a bit. We know... We understand that this is definitely a prophetic thing as far as how the food thing is going to go, and then getting us to start eating bugs and whatnot. And so when we look at it, of course, 1 Timothy 4:1-3 says, now the Spirit expressly says that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their own conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry, and then right here, and commanding to abstain from foods which God created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth, and commanding to abstain from foods which God created to be received. Basically, just in layman's terms, fit for human consumption. This is the food that God laid out for us to eat. That does not include bugs. That does not include lab-grown meats. That does not include this stuff. But the commanding to abstain from foods is something that we definitely need to pay attention to, because how are they going to do it? We've talked about how they're going to start doing the carbon credit system, which will play an effect into that. Just the economy itself will probably play an effect with that. We know that they're trying to shut down the farms, cattle ranchers and stuff. We've seen all the mysterious cattle dying by the thousands all over, specifically the U.S., but I believe it's going on. We also see the bird flu outbreaks that's been happening, the various swine flu stuff that's killing off pigs. We know Ireland they're getting ready to do a bill that's you have to slaughter all this cattle, the majority of the cattle, and meat and stuff like that. That's all stuff that is provided by God for us to consume. And they want to take us off that. They want to command us to abstain from that. And we see the various reasons, but there's going to need to be more. They're going to need to do something much, much more extreme to basically get us off of that. And that's when we start taking a jaunt into the medical side of things. Now, I have to be very careful about what I specifically talk about on this, but I can show you a video from somebody who, well, just take a look and you'll understand where I'm coming from this.
So I'll give two examples. So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will. They say, wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it. I'm one of those, by the way. So, but so here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to, for example, I have milk intolerance, and some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you will become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
You catching what I'm talking about, or what he's talking about here? We know through various things that if I even mention it on YouTube, they'll ban me for it, that they are in the process of pushing through human engineering. They're talking about, this is something that he wants to do. We'll talk about him and what he's involved with in a second, but I just want you to focus on, he's talking about bioengineering humans to become allergic to meat. That would literally command our bodies to abstain from something because we now have an allergic reaction to it. So we know that they're coming at it from the economy side. We know that they're coming at it from the supply side. Now we know they're coming at it from a medical side, a human engineering, and we know this is something that they're doing. Again, reasons we can't talk about on YouTube, but we also see things like Musk has specifically talked about how they can program humans, and in his own words, that we can become freaking butterflies. That's what he said. We know that's what Wef Boy Harari has been talking about, where we can start changing things, evolving humans. That's what he says. Start evolving humans. In his words, he claims that we're probably going to be the last regular generation of humans. Schwab's talked about it. All these people have talked about the human engineering side of things. And what better way to get us, just like Timothy said, to command us to abstain from the meat, from the food that God has created for us, than by literally engineering humans so they can't eat them. And he's talking about how they can do it. This isn't science fiction. This isn't something that can happen in 10 years from now. He's talking about how this can be done. They can do it. They already have something like the Lone Star tick. They can take that, put it in their thing, and start doing it. When are they going to start doing it? That's the question. But this takes a whole new meaning. This takes on a whole new meaning of commanding to abstain. This one little section that Timothy talks about here, it contains so much. I'll throw it back up. I mean, it's a little off topic, but still, it contains so much. In the latter times, they will depart from the faith. We're seeing that, the great falling away. There's going to be no great revival before the rapture happens. It's going to be the great falling away. That's always a warning whenever you hear these charismatic churches talking about how we're going to hold a great revival. Obviously, they have not read Scripture. Run. Giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of devils. That's the churches that we're seeing now. The modern day church, the NAR, the charismatic churches, they are literally throwing doctrines of demons out of their pulpits, and people are just sucking it up because it's tickling to the ear, it gets them going, speaking lies and hypocrisy. That's these pastors up there that are sitting there, they're just preaching one thing and then they're living another. And we know the details, the job description in the Bible that gives us not only for pastors but for deacons and for elders and whatnot. And they're speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their own conscience seared with a hot iron. That's hardening of the heart, hardening of the consciousness, forbidding to marry. We're starting to see things like the Respect for Marriage Act that Biden just signed today. It passed Senate, House, and Biden just signed it in today, where that's literally, they're taking the whole point of marriage. Marriage itself, the same-sex marriage and stuff isn't true marriage. Marriage is between man, woman, and God. It's always been that way. The government stepped in and said, we're going to be a part of that. Well, it's not. That's not true marriage. Forbidding to marry, I mean, that's starting to get in there. Commanding to abstain from foods which God received. I mean, this is so much in these 3 verses packed into exactly what we are seeing today in varying different areas, varying different degrees of what we're seeing today. And this food stuff is a part of it. Now, the guy talking, so we're going to start getting into this. The guy talking is a guy by the name of S. Matthew Liao. Now, when I looked into him, I don't see any specific connection to at least on their website or anything, the WEF or the UN or anything, but he's been a part of events and speaking opportunities that are connected to them. So don't let that shy you away from that. But so this is S. Matthew Liao. He's involved with neurotech technology, including creating what they call love pills to induce the love emotion. So he's a part of the neurotech stuff, the changing of how the brain functions to get to stir up some type of love emotion. So this goes along with his thing of how each child has a right to love. So if a parent has some type of disconnect in the mind where they don't necessarily love their own child, this is about stirring up some type of love emotion in a parent to love the child because it's their right to have love. I'm not even going to get into all of that stuff, but that's what he's talking about. But either way, the point that I want you to focus on, he's talking about, he's involved with neuroscience, neurotech, which, I mean, we see, Neuralink and what Musk is doing with that. I'll talk about that in a second. He's also been involved with things like memory modification. Have you ever seen the movie Total Recall? That's what he's working on. That's what he's been a part of. That's what he's been researching and being involved with. It's about changing memories. It's about restoring memories. It's about living different memories. That's something that we've talked about with Neuralink as well, what they can do with that, where they want, the elites have talked about how they want to be able to remove their memories and all of that stuff and information from their brain and put it into like an AI program, an AI cyborg, something like that, so they can continue to live forever, even though we know as Christians it's the soul that makes us human. But the elites don't think that way. but he's talking about memory modification and changing all that stuff. He tries to spruce it up and say, oh yeah, PTSD. This is about fixing PTSD with war veterans and stuff. There's always something more sinister going on with that. Something else of note, he's also spoken at CERN events. We do not have enough time to get into that, and I'm not even going to pretend like I know a thing about that. Either way, that's demonic portal. CERN is demonic portal. That's all I'm going to say on that. We just don't have enough time. But he's spoken at those events before. He's also a pioneer for human engineering. We just talked about some of that. And he's using climate change as his reasoning. So again, this fits right along with the UN agenda, the WEF agenda, all those non-elected governmental bodies, what they're doing, those governments using climate change to push along the agenda that they want to do, and he's right along with that. Now, part of that human engineering includes cognitive enhancements, which basically that shoots straight towards Musk's Neuralink project. This is about changing the intelligence level of people. They always say they want smarter, more intelligent people, but who knows what they want to create with that. Now, again, I gotta be a little careful on some of this stuff. He's also quite involved with reproductive tech. It gets sinister, guys. He's quite involved with reproductive tech, and that includes embryonic stem cells and the use of CRISPR-Cas9. I can't talk about any of that, but if you're interested, you can check out what that stuff's involved with. I'm sure you probably have a good hint of what that stuff's involved with already, but if you're interested, you can. The last time I even talked about that stuff, YouTube flagged me, so I'm not even going to go there. Either way, but he's talked about the reproductive tech with those things. This is eugenics. This is the thing Hitler was trying to accomplish. If you want to go back in history and see what he was doing with all the projects on the Jews and all that stuff, this is what Hitler was trying to do. He was trying to create the perfect human. Well, in his eyes, he was trying to create the perfect human. This is about upgrading and trying to create gods. This is about taking away the human. This is about becoming a god. This is about what they've always talked about, how we need to like I said, Harari, he's talked about how this is going to be the last generation of regular humans. We're going to evolve. We're going to become our own gods type of thing. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to play God and create and make themselves gods. They want to engineer the next generation to remove that element. And like I said, this is something I've always talked about. You can trace this all the way back to the Tower of Babel, where that's what they believed they were. That's what they were aiming for. This is exactly what they're trying to do with this. They're trying to make themselves gods. And we know that this is going to be successful. We've read it in Revelation. That's the mark of the beast. That's why everybody always focuses on the buying and the selling aspect of the mark of the beast, but as bad as that is, and it's definitely something to notice, which the church won't be here. We'll be raptured before then, but it's definitely something to notice. But the main point is when you take that thing, it's going to change you. It's going to rewrite your DNA. You will not be human anymore. At least fully human. And as we know, for Christ's sacrifice and his resurrection, in order for that to work, we have to be human. That's why when he came down, he was a 100% man, 100% God. He had to be 100% God to be able to clean and to purify and to remove the sin, but he had to be 100% man for that bloodline to carry on for us to be saved. And so we know that they're going to accomplish some variation of this, and it's going to change that. So it's something to definitely, everybody wants to put this to like sci-fi and it only happens in movies and books and stuff, but this is something that will happen. They will accomplish it, maybe not in this way, but they're going to accomplish it in some type of way, because we know that's what that mark is going to do. We know that that's what's going to happen there. Also, they want to move memories, like I said, to AI. They want to engineer the next generation. They want to remove the human and enter that evolution, like Harari has said. This now leads me to the announcement of Ectolife. I know it's flown under the radar a little bit, but I know some people have seen it and they're trying to get it out there. But it leads me to Ectolife as far as this reproductive DNA stuff. I hope you're ready for this. I hope you're ready for this. I got a video of it. Here we go.
Introducing Ectolife, the world's first artificial womb facility, powered entirely by renewable energy. Ectolife allows infertile couple to conceive a baby and become the true biological parents of their own offspring. It's a perfect solution for women who had their uterus surgically removed due to cancer or other complications. With Ectolife, premature births and C-sections will be a thing of the past. Ectolife is designed to help countries that are suffering from severe population decline, including Japan, Bulgaria, South Korea, and many others. The facility features 75 highly equipped labs. Each state-of-the-art lab can accommodate up to 400 growth pods or artificial wombs. Every pod is designed to replicate the exact conditions that exist inside the mother's uterus. A single building can incubate up to 30,000 lab-grown babies per year. Ectolife allows your baby to develop in an infection-free environment. The pods are made of materials that prevent germs from sticking to their surfaces. Every growth pod features sensors that can monitor your baby's vital signs, including heartbeat, temperature, blood pressure, breathing rate, and oxygen saturation. The artificial intelligence-based system also monitors the physical features of your baby and reports any potential genetic abnormalities. The pods are equipped with a screen that displays real-time data on the developmental progress of your baby. These data are sent directly to your phone so you can track your baby's health from the comfort of your zone.
Yeah. That is Ectolife. It's an 8-minute long video. I just wanted to show you the beginning. That gives you enough of an idea of what this is. There's a lot to talk about on that. There's a lot to unwrap on that. But there's 3 things specifically that I want to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about more in depth of what it is at another time. Maybe not. But there's 3 things that I want you guys to take away from that. Well, first, okay, maybe 4. First things first. That's something straight out of a horror movie. They want children in their little pods so they can feed them and do exactly what they want to do with that. I'm sure your brain is probably going over a million different things, what they can do in there, including just, they talked about sensors on the thing. Well, what's stopping them from putting in a Neuralink sensor right off the bat? But like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can talk about on it, but there's 3 things I want to specifically talk about. First thing, the zone. At the very end, it talks about how you can watch the baby from your zone. A lot of people might just overlook at that. A lot of people might think, oh, that's no big deal. They just mean your house or whatever. No, they specifically mentioned zone as in the districts, the zones that we just talked about last week. So they're talking about how this is going to be set up, and it's going to be, you can watch your baby from your zone. So the little subtle things like that, they will put in there. People overlook them. People don't think anything of them, but they give you little clues. They give you little clues like that. So in this video, when they're talking about these artificial wombs, they're letting people know you're going to be in your zone when that happens. The other thing, or the second thing, is they talked about how it'll be run entirely by renewable energy. Have you ever seen The Matrix? If you haven't seen The Matrix, there's a specific part of the movie where he breaks down what the real world is and what the Matrix world is. I'm not going to show you the video because the last time I tried to do something from the Matrix, they forced me to take down the video. So I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that risk. But basically, the humans, the babies, the humans, all of them pretty much, are batteries. The machines, because just a quick thing on the Matrix, the real world, everybody is in a pod, and the machines, fully functioning AI, we'll talk about in a second, the AI machines, they use human energy as a battery because it's the most renewable, most explosive energy source available. It beats everything. And so they're talking about how this is going to be renewable energy. What is to say that these ectolife labs, where there's 30,000 babies a year that they're talking about, isn't going to be the renewable energy? They aren't going to use babies as batteries to power this stuff. Who's to say that that's not going to be the future on this? There's a lot more stuff out there that sounds absurd, but why can't they do that? And we've seen it in the Matrix. Now, the other thing is the AI. It talks about how it's going to be AI controlled, all the sensors and everything. It's going to be run by a machine, exactly like what the Matrix was. It was AI machines. Well, the AI where we're at now, and I'm just talking about in the past 2 years, has gone from, and I've talked about this a long time ago, artificial intelligence will become demonic intelligence. It's not going to be a computer program running this stuff. It's going to be demons running what they call AI. And what's been happening in the past 2 years has told me, at least, that we have shifted into the demonic intelligence like I was expecting. And I firmly believe now that this artificial intelligence has now become demonic intelligence. Getting back to S. Matthew Liao, or Lao Liao, something else that he is connected to is artificial intelligence and its ethics. It's ethics. He's a believer that artificial intelligence is alive, it's conscious, and it's sentient. He firmly believes that AI is not just a computer program, that it is actually a living being. He's involved in AI morality and is working to establish rights, actual rights for AI. So AI morality and rights. He says that AI can feel pain, have desires, and is a living, intelligent being. This isn't the only guy, and we just talked about his background, what he's involved with, and he is somebody that believes AI is something, but he's not the only one. I have seen other stuff out there from AI developers or just coders, programmers who have been doing it for 10, 20 years. Of course, there's some whack jobs out there that, online, I'm a coder type, but there's some legitimate ones out there who believe that for what AI is doing now, it's impossible. They say it's impossible for a computer program, no matter how good the coder is who wrote it, to be able to do the things that it is doing. They said it's not possible. Somebody or something has to be controlling the AI to do it. And just like Not This World says, if they can possess a person, they can possess artificial intelligence. They can possess a computer. They can do that. And these AI guys, including Mr. Liao here, believe that it's now a living, sentient being. We've also seen some stuff out there about somebody who worked at, I think it was Amazon. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or is it Microsoft or Google. He worked at Google, and he said that the Google AI machine is sentient, and he was fired and all that stuff. We've seen more and more of these people talking about how AI has now become alive. Now, part of this is we're seeing an extreme wave of artificial intelligent art coming into play out of nowhere. The artificial art stuff. Now, if you don't know, which I would be shocked, because if you spend any little bit of time either on social media or anything online, you will notice an absolute explosion. And I want to say in the past, year, but I'd say the past 6 months, really, this explosion of AI generated art has been coming out of nowhere. We understand that these programs, the AI art programs, intake not only images of people, places, and things, but it also sucks in medical records, facial recognitions, eye retina scans, pornographic images, and other written materials, stories, birth certificates, driver's license stuff, social security numbers, all that stuff. These AI art programs intake all of this stuff, whether you input it yourself or it's just going out and getting it itself. This program will intake all of this information and create some type of image that you have desired. So whatever you type in, whatever images that you submit to it and tell it to make, it's going to take all of this information in, and then it's going to create something out of it. So it's not creating something from nothing like an actual artist does. What it does is it takes stuff that's already there, and then it just mashes everybody else's work together to create what's going on. Again, the consensus that I'm seeing is that AI engineers are claiming that it's not possible. It is not, they're saying it's 100% impossible for an AI system to create these things, and something is controlling it. A lot of these people firmly believe that, and Liao, of course, says that it's alive and it needs morals, or it has morals, it needs rights, because it's its own thing. Artificial intelligence has now become demonic intelligence. I firmly believe, I can't sit here and prove it to you, I'm just giving you the information that I've seen and stuff, but I firmly believe that AI has now become DI. There's really no other way to put it. The very same things that we see the elites collecting. Now, this is where all of this stuff kind of interconnects, because we know the demons are going to be a part of creating this beast system for the Antichrist when he comes in. So we know the elites and the shadow government and the demons, they're kind of working in tandem on getting this stuff set up. So this is where it's very interesting. The very same things that we see the elites collecting, because they're trying to collect all this information and data on us, is also being collected by these AI art programs, which everybody's using now. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But the same things that the elites are trying to collect are the exact same thing that the AI art programs are collecting. Right off the bat, I talked about the medical records. We see that they're trying to create a medical database. Of course, they want to do their digital ID and the passports and stuff like that, but they're also trying to create a database, a medical database for every single person. They want all that information in real time in this database. And now I've got a video here from the World Health Summit, and this was in October of this year. Where is it? There it is.
You know, we have it's a new venture. It's called Mayo Clinic Platform, and really what it is as we've been talking about prevention, or what we're hoping to do is gather the medical records, and it's a very lofty goal, but the medical records of everybody in the world, so we can start to predict before diseases and conditions even happen. And we realize that that is the future, that, hopefully being able to have all of these records, it's really going to be able to help our physicians, our scientists, and our researchers be able to cure diseases and conditions before they even occur.
I know the video and the audio was off on that. Something happened when I ripped it from the internet. It didn't download properly, but that's the real audio and video on that. But she's talking about how they're trying to create a global database of every single person's medical records. And we know the AI is taking medical records. It's going in and it's taking everybody's medical records. So that is a function of what they're trying to do. Another aspect is facial recognition is another that's basically that's going to be a part of their social credit system. They want your face in the grid, and they want to be able to track you wherever you go, even in your own house. We're seeing things like TSAs. Facial recognition is in 16 domestic airports, and they're working on getting it to go nationwide next year. So 16 in all these different states, all these airports, they've got facial recognition there. Again, it's not only here, but they've got it in worldwide airports as well. There's also, I've talked about the big box stores like Walmart and Target and whatnot, where they have facial recognition scanners at the doors, and it's usually about eye level if you can pay attention to it as you walk in. Not all of them have them, but there's a lot of them do. Where when you walk through the door, it's actually getting your facial recognition scan as you walk through into like a Walmart or Target or something like that. So they've got that. Then there's the phone apps, the computers, the smart TVs, all of that as well. It's all facial recognition. It's all scanning your face to get that in their database. The AI art program is doing the exact same thing. Smart cities are going to be a part of it. Smart cities, the 15-minute city, your zone, the Hunger Games, all that stuff. They're going to have the facial recognition scanners everywhere as well. Street lights, traffic cameras, geo scanners, all of that stuff. I actually got another video on something in Australia about the smart city. Check this out.
Month or so. How about this one? People counting. You want to take a deep dive into your dystopian future under the digital surveillance state. It's right here. This little board here tells you how many times people have come through the park. Essentially, it tells you how many unconnected Wi-Fi devices there are in. So that would be everyone's phone. This is telling you how many people are in the park at the moment. So once again, imagine a lockdown scenario, another emergency, another COVID outbreak, or monkeypox, or whatever you like. You name it, we'll make it up. 6 devices in this park at the moment. That's down 50% for normal. Your local government, your state government, your federal government want it to be none. And this will tell you, these sensors up in this light, the Wi-Fi connections, they're all interlocked. There will be facial recognition cameras in there. So, don't think you're just going to leave your phone at home. The cameras will pick you up in future.
So your smart city, your 15-minute city, it's going to all these sensors, all the different towers that you see, all the smart everything. It's all part of the facial recognition or the facial recognition program. So we know they want the medical records. The AI art program is doing that. They want facial recognition. We know the AI thing is doing that. We also know the role of social media that's playing in this. That's a main one of the main focuses of where AI art is actually being used is on social media, Facebook and stuff. So many different things out there where it says, hey, submit your profile picture and we'll make you a cartoon. We'll make you like a Simpsons cartoon, or we'll make you this type of thing or whatever. Well, that's part of the AI program. That's part of that type of thing. And social media is playing a part of it. And we know the AI program is also going in and scraping social media programs. Now, I actually saw this comment. I heard in Australia they can't use the internet without getting a digital ID. I don't know how true this is. It's funny that you bring that up because I've got a video that is, I think it's going to answer your question. This is also in Australia. You're definitely going to want to check this out because before the video, something that we've been talking about ever since this whole thing started, Australia has always been the testing ground. They always test things in Australia first before they start doling it out everywhere. That smart city thing was from Australia, and so is this. Check this out.
A radical plan to crack down on social media abuse is being considered by the federal government. For more, Nine's Oliver Haig joins us live in Adelaide. Ollie, how will it work?
Layla, good morning. Essentially, it will work the same as a passport. Australians forced to submit 100 points of identification, like their driver's licence or passport, when using social media accounts like Facebook and Twitter. Now, police would have access to those social media accounts, and it's all part of a crackdown on online abuse. Now, users could be liable for defamation suits or even criminal prosecution, and it's all part of a plan hoping to deter people from engaging in bad behaviour. Now, the recommendations were handed down by a federal parliamentary inquiry. They're reforms that are being considered by the Morrison government, with the chairman saying there is merit to remove the veil of being anonymous. Layla?
So, right there, I think that answers your question. But you will need to provide 100 points of proof of identification in order to use social media and whatnot. They're talking about birth certificate, passport, driver's license. You will need to, each government issued ID is worth so many points, and you have to meet 100 points in order to be able to do that. We're also seeing things in Australia. I don't have it in my notes, but it's something where I think I got it on my phone. I want to make sure I get this right. Should have wrote it down. I think this is it. Yeah, Australian citizens can only access Bitcoin if they have enough social credits. According to a new law, Australian citizens need to have a 100 score of social credits before performing any digital transactions. This includes crypto trading or accessing the web. We're going to see if that's an actual law or not. I do not know yet. But we're going to start seeing things like we just saw with the digital ID thing, your points of identification to do it on there. This is going to be part of the social credit score system, where you're going to need to meet a criteria of credit of some type, carbon, social, whatever, in order to be able to access things where everything is going to be digital anyways. So in order to be able to do that, I'm also seeing things like with the AI programs, where it's becoming so advanced, where they're actually working on something where it will, if you insert enough photos of yourself, it'll actually take your head and put it on a character on a TV show. So when you're watching that TV show, you're the main character. I'm seeing that type of technology coming from this. I'm also seeing things where it's like VR lenses, like contact lenses. They've talked about how they want to do glasses and whatnot. That's not going to be good enough. They're probably going to do something where they attach it to your eyeball to do this stuff. We know Neuralink is going to be doing things in the head where like memory transition and stuff. So that could all play a part with that. Either way, all of this stuff that we're seeing, all of the stuff that we're talking about now is all being controlled by this AI program. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a coder at all. I'm pretty computer illiterate, honestly, when it comes to this stuff. I just don't see how the AI could be doing what it's doing without some being behind it. It's got to be demonic intelligence. I'm telling you, this demonic intelligence is gathering every single bit of data, both biometric and paper, on every single person, and is using parlor tricks to continue to do it. And what I mean by parlor tricks is, hey, we could have some fun, make some AI art, or hey, change your profile picture to this type of cartoon. People are willingly giving this information. People are willingly putting this stuff in there, not even understanding what this is leading to, what it's coming to. It's they're duped. It's the wool over the eyes. It's, you know, we talk about how it's just, you know, like the dumbing down of society and stuff, and sure, that's playing a part of it, but I'll be honest, most people don't want to know. They don't want to know the truth. They want to reject it no matter what. And they don't want to know. And so they would rather just sit there and have some fun playing around with this stuff, not understanding what it's leading to. They just don't know. And you will notice how addicted people are becoming to these programs. People are almost mesmerized by it. It's just people, they can't stop at one, they can't stop at two. They're going in and making picture after picture after picture after picture after picture, and they just continue to feed into it. They continue to push more and more of these images, more and more of the information into this stuff. They've become addicted to it, which, again, I would not be surprised if there's some demonic draw, some tickling in it to continue to suck these people into doing this stuff. And it's only going to continue to get worse. Like I talked about, if they're going to start putting people as the main characters in TV shows by scanning heads, you know how addicted people are going to be to that. That sentence made no sense, but you understand what I'm saying. There's an influence to it. There's a demonic influence to it. Now, it doesn't just stop there. As far as the AI art stuff goes, I'm sure there's more into there, but that gives you a basis of what it is. But digging deeper into what that program is, we now have AI that is creating new medicine and drugs. They are now using the same technology of AI-generated arts to do AI-generated drugs, stuff that we as humans cannot create or doesn't exist. This is where it gets interesting. One of the systems that creates the AI art is the program called DALL-E 2. This is the same tech and code behind what is being used to create AI-generated drugs. So it's not the DALL-E 2 program itself, but it's the same system, the same structure of code that is being used for AI art is being put into this program to create AI-generated drugs, to create AI-generated medicine. DALL-E 2 is created, like I said, this is where it gets interesting. Musk is not your friend. DALL-E 2 is created by OpenAI. OpenAI, one of the founders of it is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is one of the founders of OpenAI. OpenAI is the program that is the DALL-E 2 program, which is being used to create the AI art, and it's also the same type of code, the same type of program that is being used for these drugs. So now you've got Elon Musk, a part of AI art, which firmly believe is demonic controlled, and that same type of program is being used to create new medicine. Do you really want to know what type of drugs a demonic intelligence program is going to create? Do you really want to know? My mind goes in about 5,000 different directions on what that can do. And of course, conservative right-wing hero Elon Musk is behind all of it. Who would have thought it? But don't worry, he's over there doing his Twitter files about, information that we've known for years, and information that is just nothing but a distraction. It's all theater over there. 2 separate labs announced this AI generation, or what they call diffusion model, to create AI-developed drugs. So there's 2 labs that are working on it. One is a Boston startup called Generate Biomedicines. I think that's it. Generate Biomedicines, which created the program Chroma. So they created their own version of it. And they themselves described it as DALL-E 2 of biology. So it's right in there. The other is a team at the University of Washington who created the program Rose TTA Fold Diffusion. That name is not as good as Chroma. You guys need to step it up. These diffusion models are described as programs that, and this is what it is, you always got to pay attention. Like we just talked about how with that Ectolife, they use the word zone. They like to throw this stuff in there. The diffusion models are described as programs that conjure up designs for new types of protein never seen in nature. 2 things on this. One is conjure to summon a demon or spirit or magic. So they specifically use the words conjure on this. I'm telling you, these words like this, many people just sit there and go, you're reading too much into it. I'm not reading too much into it. They use specific words and terms for a reason. And they use the word conjure on this thing. The other is protein never seen in nature. They're literally going to create something that has never existed before. What do you want me to say to that? I mean, we're talking about a demon in control of this thing that's going to be creating new drugs and stuff that we've never seen before. It's used to conjure this stuff up. There is so much evil behind these programs. There's so much evil behind this stuff. And guess what? It's all being, glitter, sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns over here. Hey, come have some fun with AI art. And this program is all the way through, weaving itself all the way through. It's the same old song and dance, really, because, again, you look at stuff like the modern church. Oh, it's just Hillsong, Bethel, and Elevation music. There's nothing bad about that. You know how many churches and pastors that I have seen that have gone from biblically strong, biblically based churches that when they started letting that music in, all of a sudden that all went out the window. It is not just some little frilly thing. It's not just something to play around with. You let that fun little thing in. You let the fun little thing in, and it changes and twists everything into exactly what Satan wants. This is how it works. And it's doing evil things under the guise of let's just have some fun with AI art. That's all I got on that. We could go much deeper into that. We could be here for hours, so I'm not going to do that. But be warned. Don't be a part of it. Don't fall into that stuff. And my suggestion is, as much as you possibly can, stay away from this AI stuff that's going. And be careful of what you submit online. That's, I sound like a parent to a child at that point, but sometimes we just really got to remind ourselves, be careful what we put online. Just saying. Now, a couple other things to finish this off. Raise of hands, how many people remember Event 201? Happened several years ago, right before a specific giant world-changing thing happened. You guys remember 201, Event 201? At least remember the name of it? Well, on October 23rd of 2022, Johns Hopkins partnered with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the WHO, the WHO, again, for their catastrophic contagion tabletop exercise. They ran an event of fictional proportions. They make sure they put the word fictional on every single thing of it, of a pandemic that ran in the near future with a higher fatality rate than the COOF, and it mainly targets children and youths. What is a youth? Oh, excuse me, youths. If you got that reference, points for you. Sorry, I just watched that a couple days ago. But they ran it. Now, I said again when it came to Johns Hopkins, Bill and Melinda Gates, and the WHO. What do I mean by again? Well, we saw this exact thing happen in October of 2019, right before you know what, and that was Event 201. Event 201 was a tabletop exercise for the COOF right before it happened. Now we're seeing something like this before. Now, I'm just going to put an asterisk on this, just because we've seen other tabletop exercises where we thought something was going to happen and then it fizzled out. The latest one was the monkeypox thing, and it fizzled out. We do know that they are going to pull another thing. We know they are going to pull another thing. I'm not a doctor. Don't kick me off YouTube. Don't kick me off YouTube, all that stuff. But we know something else is coming. Could this be it? Possibly. It would be a good time to do it, because now all of a sudden, because we look at what's going on with China. If you haven't heard, they're now easing up on the zero COVID policy. now would be a good time because the world has now all of a sudden kind of become exactly to normal, with Christmas right around the corner, and everybody is so focused on having a regular Christmas for the first time in years. So this would be a good time to do it. Just something to think about. Now, some some key highlights of this thing, because they released some information on the lessons that they've learned from the exercise. Some key highlights of this thing. If a more dangerous pandemic hits, how should stronger measures be taken? They're talking about, should they put in lockdowns quicker? Should they shut down schools quicker? Should they have more stronger measures on things? They specifically talk about, if a more dangerous pandemic hit, how much stronger should they be on their measures? Another highlight is decisions of sorts should be established before the events occur. So basically what they're talking about is no more making decisions in the middle of it. We're going to have the decision set and ready to go beforehand, so once it happens, we just trigger it. Yeah. Remember, they own the science. Remember that. And then another highlight is, people have ignored this, and it's so frustrating. One of the highlights that they put is countries should establish a global health network of professional public health leaders who will navigate the next pandemic. A lot of people are thinking they're talking about a global government health board, and you'd be exactly right. This is the pandemic treaty. They literally talked about in this tabletop exercise, that they need that pandemic treaty in order to prepare and get it ready to go. This is the pandemic treaty. This was, if you didn't know, little history, not too long ago, right before Elon Musk released his Twitter files. At first, when I did the first video, I talked about how the world would, well, I was right. The world was enthralled with the Twitter files that Elon Musk was releasing. That was on a Friday. The next Monday, and nobody had a clue. Nobody had a clue. The WHO got together, and they were meeting about getting the pandemic treaty going. Now, we know the pandemic treaty failed the last time because the entire world was up in arms about that thing, and they realized, okay, we'll just have to wait and we'll push it through next time. Well, guess what? They got you so distracted on the Twitter files that they had that meeting, and just coming out this past week is they have approved that they will get the zero draft, they're calling it the zero draft for that pandemic treaty, ready to go in February 2023. Everybody is so focused on the Twitter files. The FBI was involved. They were censoring things. They kicked Trump off. They were doing misinformation on the COOF stuff. All stuff we knew, all things that changed nothing. And everybody was so distracted at that they got their pandemic treaty through, and they're going to get the draft ready for it in February of 2023. That was one of the lessons they learned from this tabletop exercise, was they needed to get this global governing health board established and ready to go. And they managed to, it's not there yet, but it's pretty darn close. Yeah, like I said, it's the magician's code. It's the second oldest trick in the book. Whatever one hand is doing, you always watch the other hand. The first trick, if you didn't know, is pull my finger, never pull my finger. And then the last highlight that I've got that I thought was of note was countries should prioritize efforts to increase trust in government and public health officials. Yeah, good luck with that one. Increase resiliency of people to misleading information and reduce the spread of harmful misinformation. So that's more of the, how can we suppress the misinformation? How can we do all of that? Guys, like I said, I don't know if this is going to be the next thing. I believe the outbreak that it was is called SERS 2025, SERS 2025. They've got a highlight video on it. It's pretty long. I don't want to put the whole thing on here. I also don't know if I'll get hit for something. But what I will do is after this podcast, I will post that video. It's like a whole dramatization thing where they've got like a newscast and everything. It has, you want to check it out. I'll post it on my Telegram. So if you're not on my Telegram, if you're not on my Telegram, make sure you check that out. I will post. If you're not on my Telegram, get on my Telegram. Then you can check it out, and I'll post that on there. So that's what's going on with that. Oh yeah, is it 2 E's? It's probably 2 E's. Okay. Sears. No, they shut down. Sears shut down. Anyway. Yeah, I feel like Jesus has to come soon to rapture us because Bible says people will pretty much be business as usual. If all these lockdowns come again, people won't be having parties and getting married. Yeah, I don't know. People seem to be ignoring a lot of things happening right now and just going about business as usual, even though the entire world is on fire. So I don't know what it would take, honestly. I don't know. One would think. Okay, and then we're going to finish this off. Looks like we got about 10 minutes left, which we should be able to finish off in no time. I got a request or a suggestion to talk about this religious, and I use that term very loosely, religious group called the Black Hebrew Israelites. And so when I was looking into these, which I never heard of them before, honestly, but when I was looking into this thing, I started to notice a few. I don't really pay attention, I'll be honest. My efforts are usually put elsewhere, but every once in a while on my news wire, my news feed, something pops up about Kanye. But I have noticed some similarities between the Black Hebrew Israelites and Kanye West and what he's been doing recently. But there's some that don't we'll talk about it here. As we know, the latest on Kanye West is he's been coming out with some serious anti-Semitism. Speaking very heavily against the Jews, saying the Holocaust never happened. He's a fan of Hitler and the Nazis and all that stuff. Remember, this is the guy who proclaimed to be a Christian, but if you look into his eyes, there's something in there. Next time you get a chance to look at his picture, look into his eye, you'll see what I'm talking about. Something's not right. And I told you guys from the beginning, Kanye West was a false convert. There's no way. And so we're seeing this anti-Semitism from it. Some of the stuff he says, like I said, lines up with the horrific group called the Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, they go by different names like Black Jews, Black Hebrews, Black Israelites, Israelites, African Israelites, a whole bunch of different stuff. And they all have different sects, which most believe that Israel and the Jews are false descendants and that the blacks are the true descendants of the lost tribe of ancient Israel. Yeah, they have different sects, which they have different beliefs and stuff like that. It's almost like they have their own denominations and all that stuff. Because these are more just like occultic groups rather than one united thing. That should tell you enough. Their goal is to spread this ideology to the black communities to get an uprising and to take their true place, what they say, their true place in society with the notion that blacks are the superior race above all others. So this isn't just the usual, the white man is holding me down type of stuff that we've been seeing. They believe that the blacks are superior to everybody. and they are the true descendants from the ancient Israelites. So that's their goal, is to spread that information to the different black communities out there. The traditions they take from include the Freemasons, mind power, theosophy, the occult, and the Old Testament. They combine all of this stuff together and they create their own type of theology. And of course, they deny the Trinity and all that stuff as well, which, when you're getting stuff from mind power and theosophy, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Okay, so you will find this type of theology involved heavily, not only in the hip hop industry, the hip hop music industry, but you'll see it in groups like BLM, and honestly, some of the stuff that you're seeing with Kanye West. Now, some of the stuff that he doesn't necessarily fit in with it. Like, we've seen the All Lives Matter shirt that he's wearing. And he's talked about how he loves everybody, no matter their color or whatnot. But if you start digging into some of the other stuff that he's said, some of the other stuff that he does, it fits very, very, very close to their theology, this Black Hebrew Israelite theology. I don't know. It's interesting. There's a whole bunch more information on this. Like most of these occultic religion stuff, it's something that you can't really just, take out in 10 minutes. You have to go pretty deep on it. But I guess my biggest thing, because I tried to get some main points that are easily recognizable. If you're more interested, you can check it out. But I guess mainly where I want to take this is I want people to be aware of this stuff that's coming, because while a lot of it is very in your face up front, we hate this type of race, we're the superior race, and a whole bunch of babble stuff that really doesn't make any sense if you know a lick of your Bible. This stuff can seep in. It can get into things and you won't know it. And I just want people to be aware of it. I'm just using Kanye West as an example. Just any Christian who knows their Bible knows not to pay attention to what that guy is doing or to follow him on anything. But it's definitely something, because I'm starting to see, when I looked into it, how intertwined it is in the hip hop music, how intertwined it is. What was it? I saw some dude, Kendrick Lamar. I don't know this stuff, but it was like Kendrick Lamar and his cousin or his brother or some family member is a part of the group. And in one of his songs, he put a phone recording of his brother talking about being a Black Hebrew Israelite and stuff, which, just like Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar put out a supposed gospel album years ago, and he got hailed as some great spiritual guy. We got to be very careful and use this stuff as an opportunity to warn people about this false stuff, because there's a lot of Christians that are wrapped up in like the hip hop scene. And I'm not just talking about they listen to hip hop. I mean, they're wrapped up in following the people of it and whatnot. And we need to make them aware of what's going on. Most won't listen. I understand that. I'm still in an ever losing battle of trying to warn people about Hillsong, Bethel, Elevation, and Maverick City Music and all that stuff. But we still need to continue to do it. Even if it falls on deaf ears, we still need to continue to warn people, because even if we just get that seed in there, we pray down the line that their eyes will be opened up to it. And so this is one of those groups, one of those religions that is made its way into a lot of stuff. And we know a lot of churches fell into the BLM stuff. And the BLM is wrapped up in Black Hebrew Israelite stuff. So we're in this time where a lot of people aren't going to listen, but we still need to scream at the brick wall. I mean, even if they won't listen, don't get in their face and scream at them. I don't mean that, but I mean, we still need to inform them, warn them, give them a heads up of what's going on. And at that point, we did our job. And like Scripture tells us, blood's not on our hands at that point. We did our job. We warned them. We told them. They're the ones that are choosing not to heed the warning. They're the ones that are choosing not to act on it or to change or to even just take 10 minutes and look into what they're a part of. But again, that's not on us. We did our job. And so we need to continue to do our job while we're still here. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. That is it. So glad you guys can join me. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. There's a lot to cover. I know maybe in the future we'll take some of this stuff deeper. Maybe not. There's always so much stuff going on all at the same time. And so, but yeah, glad you guys can join me. Like I said, hopefully you guys got something out of this. All the glory to the Lord. Something that's been on my mind recently, and I like to be transparent with you guys, is I continue to pray, and I continue to tell myself that I need to make sure I don't get wrapped up into so much focus on the show and the position I'm in and stuff. And I just need to really focus on why I do this and bringing glory to the Lord. I need to continue to tell myself, step back, step back, step back. And so, just being transparent with you guys, it's something that's been on my mind recently. No particular reason, but it's just something that I feel I need to tell myself. And I think everybody does if they're in some type of position like this. So I think it's very important. Just throwing that in there. If you guys can say a prayer, keep me humble, keep me accountable. I guess that's the best way to do it. So just something I've been praying about this week. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. Yeah, so I think that's it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Like I said, I still think I'm shadow banned on YouTube. I still think I'm shadow banned on there. So yeah, make sure you share this out with people, get this out to those who you think need to hear it. Follow me, Odyssey, Rumble, Telegram, all that stuff. Really glad to hear that. Encouragement on Telegram always helps. I'm glad I can provide that. But yeah, so make sure you follow me on there in case something happens with the YouTube channel. And then Telegram, I always post exclusive stuff that you can't find on any of those channels. So make sure you're on there. And if you feel led to, there are donation links down below. CashApp, Venmo, Give, Send, Go. So if you feel led to support this ministry, of course, I definitely appreciate that and all that stuff. And then a quick announcement. I was just checking the calendar. Next week is going to be the last Tuesday before Christmas. And what I did last year is I did a 12 signs before Christmas episode. And I'm going to do that next Tuesday. So we'll do a thing where it's the 12 signs before Christmas, which means it's the 12 prophetic signs that we are seeing happening now. So it's going to be kind of a recap, an overview of everything that we've seen this past year and how it portrays into that. So don't miss that. And that's it. So I'm going to leave you guys there. Glad you guys can join me and continue to look up, continue to look for our Lord because he is coming soon. Continue to do the job we set out to do. All right, guys. If the Lord does not come by next Tuesday, same time, same place. Peace out.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.